Alright lads, welcome back to a new video. In this one, for the last time this summer, we're going to do the classic one transfer rumor for every single Premier League club, rating the most recent transfer rumor. I'll give you my thoughts on it. Let's just get straight into the video, shall we? Right, only a few days until the deadline day left, and I must be honest, this has to be one of the easiest researchable videos I've ever made, because every club is just so active. It's quite easy to find a rumor for every single Premier League team. Starting things off with Bournemouth. Bournemouth are looking to wrap up a loan deal for AC Milan's Alex Jimenez, and this is a young Spanish, originally a right back, but he can feature at left back as well. And we must not forget, last season he actually kept Kyle Walker out of the AC Milan team after he went there on loan from January onwards, and he's now at Burnley, meaning this is a player with some pedigree, 19 years of age still, so massive upside if you manage to tie him down to a long-term contract, but also some young legs who can compete with the likes of Adam Smith, who seems like he's been Bournemouth's right back for ages now. So I'm all over this signing for Bournemouth. Really good deal in my opinion. Arsenal want to sign Piero Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen, and can we talk about the players Leverkusen are losing this window? This deal again seems like it's gonna go through. Arsenal won the race against Tottenham, who seem to lose out to all of their targets to Arsenal, or nearly all of them, as we'll get onto towards the end of the video. As for Hincapié, he is a centre back who can also play at left back. He's left footed, meaning Arsenal have not only strengthened their right hand side options with bringing in Christian Mosquera, but now also their left hand side options. It's a loan with an obligation to buy for, I think, just underneath 60 million. If I'm not mistaken, or at least that's what Arsenal wanted to make out of this deal. That would be incredible business, and I mean, with them bringing in Eze as well, you have to say, Berta, it's been an unbelievable opening window for, if you ask me, for Arsenal. And in the next video we will be doing on transfers, which will be ranking every single club's transfer window. Arsenal's transfer window will be right up there, I can assure you. Aston Villa have been linked with the return of Marco Asensio, and I must admit, out of every single player they brought in the last January, I think Asensio is the one I would like to see them keep a hold of the most, because not only is he class, we all know how great Marco Asensio is in tight spaces with the ball at his feet. He always pops up in dangerous areas, but he is also the most realistic, I think, when it comes to wages. Okay, he's played for Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain, so he'll be on quite a chunk when it comes to his wages. But it was only Fenerbahce who were interested in him this summer, really, meaning Aston Villa should be able to get this deal done for not that ridiculous a wage packet. They also have been linked with another forward, but that forward is in talks both with them and another club, who we will move on to right now, I suggest. And that other club is Brentford. Brentford have been linked, as well as Aston Villa, with Maximilian Bayer from Borussia Dortmund. Now, typically when a striker leaves Dortmund and goes to somewhere like the Premier League, you'd want them to be absolutely ripping it up. And Bayer still is very raw, but what he does have is extreme pace. He's pretty technical for a striker, and I think him, Schade, potentially Wissa again, Dango, who is now joined, I think those are all similar molds of forwards, meaning he will fit in quite well, in my opinion. More so than he would at Aston Villa, but maybe for Aston Villa it's actually more important to be looking for a different option, something they don't already have. Brighton, I'm gonna be honest with you, Brighton are a club that always get their business done nice and early, so it's really hard to find a recent rumor for them. One that hasn't got too many credible sources, but is still one I wanted to discuss because it's going to be one of the biggest stories over the next few days. It's Kobbie Mainoo. Now, if we're talking about a fit with Brighton, Brighton are obviously a team who are constantly looking for these kind of market opportunities, players who are too good for the situation they are put in, which is in Kobbie Mainoo's case being Bruno Fernandes's backup. And if Brighton would be able, or any club would be able to get that deal done at the quoted 40 to 50 million pounds, even though Manchester United say they don't want to sell or loan him this summer, which I think is completely understandable, because one, Bruno Fernandes isn't going to be there forever, and two, making him be Bruno Fernandes's competition is kind of unfair and unrealistic in my opinion, because in Kobbie Mainoo you have a very good player who just simply offers different things than Bruno Fernandes does. But if any club could pounce on this opportunity, I think that would be an incredible signing for them. Burnley are looking to wrap up a deal for Benfica's Florentino Luis, who is a number 6 which Burnley were absolutely desperate for. But he is also a number 6 who is very tenacious in tackle, very good at intercepting play, but also isn't a dud with the ball at his feet, and I think that's very important when you lose someone like Josh Brownhill. I was thinking about Ashley Westwood from the last time they were in the Premier League. Anyway, you have lost now Josh Brownhill, which means that's a lot of output coming from the midfield. You won't necessarily replace that with Florentino Luis, but you have someone who is able to pass out from that number 6 position, who is strong enough, physical enough to be able to be a sitting midfielder in the Premier League. We've seen teams like Fulham have amazing success by signing players like Joao Palhinha, for example, so I think this could be a very savvy bit of business from Burnley. Chelsea, after missing out on a target, which I'm now teasing for the second time in a row this video, and we're still only going to get onto towards the end, the latter parts of the video, they have now managed to get a deal over the line for Alejandro Garnacho from Manchester United. And I mean, this is just an incredibly weird situation, because in Alejandro Garnacho, I think people are forgetting this is still an unbelievably talented winger. 21 or 22 years old now, Argentina international, who has everything a lot of top teams are looking for at this moment in time in the market, which is an explosive winger who can create something out of nothing, has that special moment in him. That definitely is Garnacho. His output levels, his minutes played are also extraordinary for someone of his age. So the fact that Chelsea have got him now without paying over the odds for him, just because of the situation he kind of put himself and was put by Amorim in, I think that's incredible business by Chelsea. All of these teams are showing some real business savviness, some real ambition, and I must say I'm all for it. Crystal Palace, after wrapping a deal up for Villarreal's Jeremy Pino, they are now going back to Spain, to the capital of Madrid, to try and convince Conor Gallagher to join them back on loan like he was maybe 3 or 4 seasons ago. And I think this would be an unbelievable homecoming at Selhurst Park. First of all, can you imagine that midfield in Oliver Glasner's system with Wharton and Conor Gallagher? That's absolutely mouth-watering. But also, someone who has experienced the Palace crowd before is now coming back to them, both himself having developed into a better player and them as a team having developed into a more competitive side and a more actually just a more fun side. It's such a nice homecoming. I hope for Gallagher it happens, because this looks like a match made in heaven, to be quite honest. Everton are linked with Thomas Soucek from West Ham, and on the surface of it, this is a weird rumour, but it actually makes some sense. West Ham, or Everton rather, could really do with some physicality, some body in the midfield. And I think Thomas Soucek could provide that. He also has the experience to be David Moyes' Fellaini, as we saw him be for West Ham. And I think every David Moyes team needs that. But this David Moyes Everton side is actually quite small if you think about it. Tim Irukbanum, Iliman Ndiaye, Alcaraz, Grealish. None of these players really are that tall or that physically imposing, so bringing in someone like Thomas Soucek could definitely add another weapon to that team, both in defending and attacking set pieces, and also just in open play. Fulham have been linked with Kevin for a while, but that's not the one I want to be talking about, because they're also trying to wrap up another deal for a winger in a separate transfer, so they don't really depend on each other going through. It's Samu Chukwueze from AC Milan, and this is a really exciting deal as well. There's some risk involved there, because you are signing someone who hasn't had the best of times playing in Italy. But before that, at Villarreal, he was really effective playing there. Playing on that right hand side, having incredible pace to burn, some great technical ability to boost as well. And I think playing for a manager like Marco Silva could absolutely suit his game. Playing in a team that has the likes of Calvin Bassey, Alex Iwobi, I mean, it means he knows them already from playing for the national side of Nigeria. And that just creates a nice route for him to bet himself into this team nicer, if you know what I'm on about. Leeds have been linked with a Premier League return for Timo Werner, and I'm gonna be honest, I would like to see this happen, more so because I think there's still a player there with Werner, but it is a risk. He has now, I mean, he's never really had one good season in the Premier League, let alone a couple. He's joined Tottenham on loan twice now, and really did fail to make a big impact. Maybe dropping a level lower with Leeds, who, don't get me wrong, are still a massive club, do have a massive fan base, so you are still playing in front of a big crowd. Maybe that's exactly what Timo Werner needs. Liverpool, I mean, it's that man again, let's just talk about it again. Alexander Isak. I still think they are going to get this deal done. I mean, I say I still think they are going to get this deal done. I kind of swing around on this one. But with us having now signed the player, which I will be talking about when we get to Newcastle in a couple of teams, it does open the door for a potential Alexander Isak deadline day move, especially if Newcastle get a second striker in as well this window. If that happens, then we will listen to offers, and I think Liverpool will eventually come up with the offer that we are looking for Alexander Isak, and he will move there. Now, he will be class for them, absolutely, he just is that kind of player. Could the funds be allocated a little smarter to this squad? Maybe. Adding another midfielder wouldn't have hurt them. Adding another centre back wouldn't have hurt them. They're losing Tsimikas, so maybe even adding another left back wouldn't have hurt them. But it is Alexander Isak, so a bad deal this is never really going to be, is it? Man City have reportedly agreed personal terms with Gianluigi Donnarumma. Now this is again a really weird transfer, because on the one hand, you have James Trafford, who's just signed, who is a Manchester City born and bred, but also Pep Guardiola mold type keeper, who is able to play out from the back. And after just 2 games, you agree personal terms with arguably the best keeper from last season in world football, but a keeper who is the polar opposite of what Pep Guardiola wants to do. Because Donnarumma is an unbelievable shot stopper. There are no better in the game, really. Without him, PSG don't win the Champions League last season. But with the ball at his feet, he's next to useless. I mean, that's maybe a little harsh, but we've never seen him be capable with the ball at his feet. So I don't suspect him to all of a sudden master the ability that Ederson has, for example. But that's why I find it such a weird deal. That having said though, it is still Donnarumma. If you're able to bring someone like that in for around about £30 million, it's kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? Manchester United want to bring in the young Belgian goalkeeper from Antwerp. It's Senna Lammens. Now, this is a really exciting transfer if you are someone who, like me, who follows the Belgian Pro League, because you know that this kid has been talked about, especially over the last season, like a really big talent. His underlying statistics are absolutely magnificent, but we do need to remember he is facing shots that are coming from Jupiler Pro League level attackers, not necessarily Premier League level attackers. But he is still only 22 years of age. It's a 20 to 25 million pound deal for Manchester United, meaning they won't feel a thing financially. This is exactly the kind of signing they need to be making. Okay, it's probably not the ideal situation for him to be coming in with the drama that's now being caused with Onana being dropped twice, Bayindir failing to impress against Arsenal, and I mean he didn't have a bad game against Fulham, but still it's eh. And then Onana against Grimsby, the less said about that the better, I think. It's not the best situation for him to come into, but I still think in the long term he will be a massive success for them. Now it is time to talk about the big news. Nick Woltemade is coming to Newcastle United. As I am recording this video right now on Friday it's around about 12 o'clock. This is happening. He is having his medical at Newcastle United and I am so unbelievably excited. If you remember, he has been linked with Bayern Munich throughout the entire summer, especially after the Euros for under 21 players. He massively impressed in that tournament. I mean, the player of the tournament prize kind of was between him and Harvey Elliott, who ended up winning that trophy in the end. But Nick Woltemade, he is 6'6", he's a striker, he's very technical, surprisingly technical for someone of his stature. He knows where the back of the goal is, but he also can play with his own back to the goal, bringing in others into play, linking up play extremely nicely. I can't tell you how excited I am for this transfer. Nick Woltemade is a Geordie, and the most expensive Geordie in football history. Nottingham Forest are looking for a return for Matty Cash, and I mean, let's be honest, this is just one of those fairy tale stories that could be really nice. Left Forest right before they got promoted, had a really decent career at Aston Villa, actually really solid if you look back at all the things that he has done for them, but now his time seems to be up and maybe a homecoming could be on the cards for him. I really like that. Sunderland are linked with John Lukumi from Bologna, who is refusing to play for them now as he wants to move to the Premier League. I think they have seen their second or third offer for him rejected, but let's be honest, this one is pretty likely to happen, especially after the Daniel Ballard injury. And John Lusumi could be, or Lukumi, I don't really know which one of the two it is, to be completely honest. But he could be one of those reinforcements they definitely need, but they are still going down. Tottenham Hotspur. This is a genuinely insane transfer. If you told me I would have been talking about this move at the beginning of the summer, I would have called you insane. Tottenham Hotspur are signing Xavi Simons from RB Leipzig. That is an insane transfer by Tottenham, hijacking him from Chelsea, pleasing those Spurs fans who just saw Eze moving away from them, or I mean, he was never a Spurs player to begin with, but choosing Arsenal above them, that must have really hurt, but all of those pains will have been forgotten completely with this unbelievable signing. Exactly what they were looking for, this wing fielder hybrid who can play in the 10, who can play on the wing. Yeah, it's an A++ signing, Tottenham. Massive bit of business. West Ham have signed Fernandes from Southampton and are still looking for another midfielder. They have been linked with Ajax Amsterdam's Kenneth Taylor. Now, Kenneth Taylor is more so a box-to-box midfielder than a creative midfielder, but I don't think he has the physicality to contribute a lot defensively, so West Ham could probably do more with a defensively robust midfielder, because especially against Sunderland, but against Chelsea just as much, the midfield just got ran through, and signing someone like Fernandes will help with the running in that midfield, but you need someone whose primary job is to win the ball, to shield the backline, and they simply don't have that right now, in my opinion. Last but not least, Wolves are looking for another striker even if they don't want to sell Strand Larsen to Newcastle, and they have set their sights on Genk's Tolu Arokodare. Now, he was last season's Belgian Pro League top scorer. He is a massive centre forward who definitely knows where the back of the goal is, but also uses his body very well when he's turning from defenders, when he's bringing others into play. He's a very good striker, a very complete striker, and I think for 20 million odd pounds that could be an amazing signing for Wolves. Anyway, that was the end of the video. I really want to thank you for watching. What transfer do you want to see your club make over these last couple of days of the transfer window? What did you think of the rumors that I discussed today? Do you agree with my takes on them? Please let me know in the comment section down below or on our social medias, where I do implore you to give us a follow. Magpie 24/7 on Facebook, Instagram, you know the drill, and I would like to see you in the next video. Bye.